Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Phantom. After this almighty push to the upside, it seems that someone's taken a mallet to it and it started to head in the opposite direction. So we're going to be discussing where we're going to think this is going and basically what we see within the waves. Before we jump into that though, I'd like to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss any videos, and leave us some feedback down below. In the description, you'll also find links to Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Once you are in the general chat area, just add mention member of staff and we'll be happy to help you out. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff here. So actually it came quite nicely into that box that we looked at the last time that we visited Phantom. So if you didn't see it, check it in the previous video. But basically, we had this drawn out here, and we're also talking about that 2.618 area, which we've actually come lovely into here. So now we've got a couple of options within this. We can argue two things. So we could potentially argue that this is a one, two, three, four, and then we're looking for this fifth wave to the upside. But basically, within this structure, we'd be looking for this 3506 as a sort of target zone that we could be looking for this fourth wave. It's sort of the maximum. We wouldn't want to come too much deeper than that. Um, Effectively, moving down below that would indicate to me that rather, because we were talking about two possibilities, that potentially we could still have this as a flat correction and we did come slightly out of this zone, but for the most part, we can argue that potentially we'd have to change the count around a little bit and look at this as a one, two, three, four, and a five with with a diagonal in the fifth wave. I don't really like that count, but for the most part, it is still possible. So we have to just be careful that we don't actually break through this zone. And then finally, if we do break down deeper, this would be the zone I'd be looking for support, this 3281 to this 2211. If we start to lose this 2211 zone, it becomes more likely that actually what we've had here is just a flat as a fourth. And then actually we're looking to push down one more time for this fifth, potentially to this 1457 to this 0912. So that's just something we need to keep in mind. For the most part, we haven't lost the zone yet, so we can't get overly bearish at this point. But let's have a look at what we're talking about here. So effectively, within the structure, we're looking at this now as potentially a completed move into this high point here. So um, I am looking for this to be a fourth wave, and if we're looking at this as a wave two, effectively, we'd be looking for that to be a zigzag. So for the most part, it does seem to be playing out. I'd want to see a move down past this 4180 for confirmation. But what we'd be looking at from this high point, if I just turn this on, this breakdown, is basically we'd have to look at this in two ways. So either this is a bigger wave here that's actually going to extend down deeper, or alternatively, we just have an extension in wave one here. So this would be a 1, 2. That's how I'm counting it currently. 1, 2. Then effectively, this we either look as an extended wave 1, in which case we're looking for this as a 2, 3, potentially a fourth already completed, and looking for this push down through this zone of this 4180. If we do get this push down to this 4180 zone, what I'd then be looking for is confirmation of this fourth wave. And that would come by actually moving back up into this zone here of this 50 cent 24 to this 4807. Though we would have to stay below this point here of this 5237. If we moved back above that, it would basically invalidate this current structure that we have here, this circled five wave count. And we actually still haven't moved down into this zone yet. But I was potentially looking for this to come up a bit higher here. I didn't quite get there, but it is possible. Like I said, we could still be extending out. So we just need to be careful. Uh, if we actually do the breakdown much deeper here, we need to be careful that, like I said, because I'm currently looking at this as an extension in a wave one. But if we move down past this 3670, then we would have to just shift the count and basically say that this whole move here is a 1, 2, then this would become a 3, 4, 5, and then that would push the circled third wave down deeper. So that's something we just need to be careful of. I'm not seeing it in the count at the moment, but if we do extend to the downside, past this 3670, then effectively that's what we'd be looking at is a much deeper correction here. And then instead of having just an extended wave one here, we could just have a regular impulse where this is big, which with this is just still all in the third wave. So, but yeah, we need to be careful if that does play out because effectively that would take us past this fourth wave zone now. Um, and like I said, I wouldn't want to come too much deeper than this 3506 area, because that starts to become more than 50% of this move to the upside. Um, so the only other way that it would make sense if we do move down that low, uh, and we do have a bigger impulse like this forming, where we actually look to push much deeper, would be the fact that we'd have to look at this whole move to the downside, once this five-wave move is completed. So what we'd want to see, oh, that's the wrong one. Let's try that again. What we'd want to see is basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look for this retracement to the upside in a three-wave move, and then basically have another five-wave move to the downside. And that would be looking for this box area that I have highlighted here, the 3281 to this 2211. And what we could then argue, if we do manage to, if we do form bigger structure here to the downside like this, we could then argue that potentially we are actually forming a 1, 2, 1, 2, or alternatively this becomes an a B, and then we look to push up one more time for a C wave. So we'd have to see exactly how this plays out. But if we start to form this bigger impulsive structure, like I said, we'd have to be careful it's not part of this fifth wave, because what can happen is if we do form a five wave moves to the downside, we come down, we come back up, find that resistance, and actually we start to break down deeper with a deeper third wave and actually blast through this zone. Then we'd be looking for a third, fourth, and a fifth, potentially down into this area. So this is just something we need to be aware of within the count. But for the most part, until we actually lose this white box area, we need to bear in mind we can look for this fifth wave to the upside. It is also possible, because we haven't actually come down to this 4180 zone, that we could look for the potential that this doesn't actually reach that, and this just becomes an A wave, and then we push back up to the upside and look for this, like I said, as an ABC to the downside. So this rejection area I'd be looking for would be the 60-70 to this 50-57 off of the current structure we have. It is also possible, like I said, that we could start to extend. If we do complete these waves here, then we'd have to see whether we find rejection in this point, or whether we actually just move up right now. If I just take the current area, I'm going to take it from above this 618 line. If we did have to turn around at this point and look for, and actually not moved down past that 1618, we can argue that we could look for potential 50% rejection on this low point again at this 52.92. But the highest we'd want to see it move is the 786. We wouldn't really want to go too much higher than that 786. But effectively, if we did break this high again of the 65.89, we'd have to argue that potentially we would have had a really short fourth wave here, and the target zone for that fifth wave would be slightly different. The target zone, if we did actually have to look to turn around and push to the upside here, which I don't think is very likely, but nevertheless is still possible, would be this zone here of this 85.39 to the 72.52. So the deeper we come down here for this fourth wave, the higher the target comes, and basically what you'd be looking for is this zone up here at a 50% retracement. So that's what I'm currently looking for, because we look to be getting a five-wave structure here. Currently looking for that 50%, but that 382 actually sits at this 40 cent 59, which we're quite close to. So if we do just see this come down into this zone and look to form five wave moves to the upside, then it becomes more likely that actually we have completed here, and that we're looking for that fifth wave. So we're just going to have to give it a little bit of space and see how it plays out. Because, like I said, this could actually just continue to extend down here and actually blast through these zones. So we just need to be a little bit careful. But ideally, I'd want to see this move to this 4180, move up for this fourth, then a fifth, then see that three-wave retracement, then see another five-wave move to the downside here for this fourth, and then basically that would look to complete the correction, and then we'd be looking for that fifth wave to the upside. Like I said, if this fourth fails to develop, this is our point that we'll be looking for the support. If we lose this zone, effectively we would have to be careful, because as soon as we start to break down past this 1642, it would indicate that we have a much bigger breakdown here. And depending on how the waves form, we'll be able to get a more accurate target, because this is just a typical fifth wave area. Depending on how it forms exactly, we could go lower than this. We could just come into the upper end of it. It all Depends on the structure. That's the most important thing. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. And in the description, you will find a link to the Discord. Like I said, come check it out. It's free to join. In the description, you'll also find affiliate links to both BYBIT and Prime XBT, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis when we're doing our trading. So check them out. There are deposit bonuses which can be found through the links. Find them, check on the website. They will tell you all the details regarding those. Using the links does support the channel, and we do appreciate it if you do use them. Everyone, have a great evening, and we'll see you in the next one.